name is Abdul Rahman. I'm a lecturer at a public university in Kenya. I deliver lectures in computing and informatics. Welcome back again. In our last lesson, we discussed about the types of data types, and we discussed three types. We discussed about the primitive data types, the derived data types, and the user-defined data types. In today's lesson, we are going to take, as promised, the primitive data type. So for us to continue into that, we are going to talk about the four types of the primitive data types into a bit details. We are going to start up with the integers. From integers, we are going to move up to characters. We are going to move up to float, and finally, we are going to finish up with the void data type. Now let's start and see the classification of an integer. So basically, when we are talking about integers, they are further classified into three. They are classified into int, they are classified into short, and they are classified into long. Now, then further, the int are classified into sign, int, sign int, or int signed, and we have unsigned. And then the short, we've got short sign also, and unsigned short. And then also further with the long, we have got sign and unsigned. So what do we mean by sign? When we're talking about a data type to be signed, it means basically the sign data type takes both positive and negative value. And when we are talking about unsigned, takes only the positive data types. So we can see it is further divided into other six, the integer. So we have got the sign int, or we have got unsigned int, the short sign and the short unsigned, the long sign and the long unsigned. Now, why do we have all this particular classification? Basically, it is for memory management and to make up our program to become up efficiency to run. So if we understand this particular concept, then we can allocate what type of data type for our variables. So basically, when we are talking about sign and unsigned integer, basically it holds 2 to 4 bytes in memory. When you're talking about short, which is signed and unsigned, it holds basically 2 bytes of memory, and the long, it holds actually 4 bytes of memory. And this is very important. Why? If we have got a variable a into memory, we just got up a value of 10. As a programmer, we should be able to know that this variable a, where should we declare our integer? Is it to be short, an int, or a long? So if you see a variable a actually just fits into short, so there is no need for us to say int a because we are talking about 2 to 4 bytes, or we say a long because it's taking about 4 bytes. So that is very important to understand. Let's go to the second one and see. The second one we talked about is the character. So the char, basically it is also divided into 2. the signed, and the unsigned. And the signed and unsigned, basically all of them, they'll only take up 1 byte. And let's go to the third one. So the third one, basically it's called the float. And the float, basically it is divided into 3. We have the float itself, we have what you call the double, and then we have what you call up long. So the float itself, it takes about 4 bytes, and then the double takes 8 bytes, and the last one, the long, takes about 10 bytes. And the last classification for primitive data type, it is basically what we call a void. So void data type, it's very important to understand, it does not return up any value, and basically it is used only for a function. It cannot be used for a variable. So let's take, for example, for void data type, you can say void, and then here you have got our function name. But we cannot say void variable name. So this will be wrong, while this actually will be right. So basically that's what we call primitive data type classification. We have seen that they are classified more and further into so many of them. We have got the int itself, or the integer, classified actually into 6 data types, that the int sign, the unsigned, short sign, unsigned, long sign, and unsigned. So this is basically the classification. And why do we do this particular classification? Basically we do this classification because we want to do our memory management so a program becomes efficient. So let's go and see how actually we can actually implement it into Dev C++. So here basically we can see we are going to learn in future how do we actually construct and declare or develop a function. But basically a function takes up into 3 items. There's a function declaration, a function definition, and a function call. So basically here we are using up the word void to run up this particular program. So if we run this particular program which uses a function, we can see it telling us the sum is 30. So in our previous example, actually we just executed the way it is, but here using up a function to execute. So, but however, here we have used up a void to actually to make up a function. Let's see if we want to declare a variable called sum, and we say void sum, just like that. So that will be the syntax, data type, and the variable name. Let's see what happens. So if we try to execute this particular program, actually it gives up an error because you cannot take up a variable and put up in the data type void. But however, if we put up any other data type besides void, then it will be okay. So thank you very much for listening, and please don't forget to subscribe in the link below. And in our next lesson, we are going also to continue on to our data types. And thank you very much.